It's gonna start.
Oh, Brian also said if you want to be in the car for your noon hit, that's totally fine.
Oh, like just okay, perfect.
It's up to you.
Brian said if we want to be in the car.
Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk. Today is a first alert weather day, something we have been preparing you for basically for the last week or more as we entered into the new year. We knew this was coming. This was heading our way here. Speaking with Jason Nicholas nightly for our digital streams that we do, again, every single night to break down the latest in the world of weather. He said we were going to be paying for the 50-degree temperatures we had, and that is absolutely the case starting today. Now, I want to show you really quickly video from ODOT, that's the Ohio Department of Transportation here. This one in particular, that's 82 East, exit 231A. That is 71, I believe, toward 82. You can see how conditions there. Now, they've actually gotten better as we've been watching progressively over the last little bit here. I drove into work here. We work downtown. I live on the west side, excuse me. Had to go slow. It took me about 50 minutes around there to get in. And as you can see, conditions not ideal here. Going to be sending it now to Brittany Weir, who has been out on the road conditions. Variable, I feel like, is the best way to potentially say it here, Brittany. But we've been watching along as you've been driving. You're now heading in. We can all see the skyline there. When I was driving it about an hour ago, you couldn't see it at all. So this thing really is moving. Explain what you've been noticing since you've all been driving around.
Yeah, Jeff, we are on 90 East. As you can see, the skyline right there in the background. We're headed past Cleveland over to the east side. And like you said, the conditions, they are variable. It just depends on where you're driving. But the biggest thing that my photographer, Zach, has said, he's the one driving the car right now. He said that the snow that's kind of packed up on the roads that you can kind of see there, that's the biggest issue, is just navigating that. So just taking it extra slow. We haven't made it above 40 miles per hour driving around this morning, so that's been good. Just taking it slow, giving yourself extra time. We have seen a number of cars though slide a little bit off the side of the road, so that is something that we have been seeing. I have reached out to a number of local fire departments on the east side. I've reached out to Chardon, Menor, Paynesville, and thankfully they're saying right now they're not seeing any high call volumes or anything they need to be aware of, but they do want to remind drivers that these conditions can change at any moment. Any moment it can change, and we know how that snow is on the lake effect snow. So just to take it extra slow, give yourself plenty of extra time. We all know these rules, and give yourself plenty of space between the person in front of you. But again, we are on 90 East, headed past Cleveland, going to the east side. We're going to be keeping an eye on these conditions all afternoon and keeping you updated if anything does change out here. But again, so far, just take it slow if you're on the roads, Jeff.
Yeah, this is absolutely something you need to watch out for as much as possible. You haven't passed any accidents, things like that, is that right?
We haven't passed any crashes or anything like that. Like I said, just a couple of cars we've seen kind of off the side of the road, whether they slid off or they just didn't feel comfortable. So we have seen some of those. I will say we've seen almost accidents, but thankfully nothing did happen. So again, just giving yourself time and giving space between the drivers in front of you.
All right, Brittany Weir, thank you so much. If you don't mind keeping your video up for the next few minutes here while we continue to talk over it, I appreciate that. But yeah, we thank you so much. And obviously we want both of you to stay safe, so good luck out there.
Thank you, Jeff.
So they will keep that shot up as we continue to monitor the roads here. Gonna jump around between a couple of cameras as well. This, you can see, that's from the Guardian Bridge there, heading, I believe, toward Ohio City from downtown. The conditions are variable. I think that's the best way to say it there, right? These things are going to be changing depending on where the storm is, depending on how fast the cars in front of you are moving and potentially clearing some of the tracks and some of the snow there. What I'm going to do is pull up the Cleveland Plow map as well. When I was coming in downtown to come to work today, it wasn't terrible. It was just, you had to be careful. And you're going to get people that drive like complete and total, let's be honest, jerks. And that does not help the situation. So if you're going to be very safe and very calm, and the people in front of you are going to be very safe and very calm, that's going to help the situation greatly. So this is that Cleveland Plow map. We show this thing constantly. I think it's a really great resource to have here. As we zoom in, the darker color means that they have been treated more immediately. The lighter color means they have not been treated in more than 12 hours. Right now, obviously, all these roads are going to have been treated in more than 12 hours because we didn't have snow then. However, what you can see here is the downtown area right there. You can see that generic area has not seen plows as of recent. Again, you want that darker color. That means that they've seen plows basically since the snow has started. So some areas of downtown, at least according to the map, haven't really seen much yet. And that's where the concern is. If they haven't been able to get there, they haven't been able to maneuver in some of these spots, it can be slick. Taking a look now, we are in Ohio City from one of our cameras, from one of our photographers. You can see the conditions are fine, right? Obviously, there was the amount of snow that we had. It almost looks like a dusting at this point. But it's fine in some of those areas. So there's not a potential that they've needed the plows, really. We're going to join in on Brittany Weir, who's out on the scene there, who is now following along on Dead Man's Curve, which typically sees a lot of dangerous driving there. Conditions look okay. I mean, things look pretty good there as they head to the east side of the Cleveland area. And a lot of times when we were talking about these snowstorms, we say, hey, it's the snow belt. You got to be careful in the snow belt. Well, that's not the case necessarily today. It's not isolated, right? I mean, I'll show you some of these ODOT cameras that we have pulled up. This right here, I'm not sure of the exact area that we're seeing on that one, but you can see the conditions incredibly variable. But you can see there, okay, so it was 71 previously, so it might still potentially be in that area, but you can see the conditions there. Everybody following along on the one track, and then compare that to where Brittany Weir is right now on 90, just past Dead Man's Curve heading east. Looks drastically different, right? So when we talk with our weather folks, when we talk with our weather department here, a lot of the times when we're having this type of weather, they will say the emphasis is on the east side because it's the snow belt. It's not the case today. Everybody's going to be getting a little bit. Every area is going to be getting some of this. So very much so, when you're preparing to leave your house, be understanding of that. It's not just going to be the typical areas that you know to avoid. It could be everywhere that is going to get a taste of it. I'm going to go back to our camera that is in Ohio City. You saw where they were, basically right across the Guardian Bridge, approaching Ohio City. It already looks different. You can see there's already more snow just in that spot alone. A snow squall warning now is issued for Geauga and Medina counties. A reminder, a squall being, wow, it's a few. Okay, Portage, Summit as well. And Trumbull? Okay, we're gonna update that. Now, a reminder for those that aren't familiar with the technology, or the verbiage related to a squall warning, that is an intense amount in one specific area. Now, a squall is typically a wall of weather, is the simplest way to say it, and that is the exact way that it is. You could literally be feet outside of it and be totally fine, and then as soon as you enter into it, it is a very intense form of that weather pattern. And this is what we are seeing now for some of those warnings for some of those areas. And again, the conditions can be variable, right? What we are seeing right now in the video that you're seeing there from Ohio City is drastically different than what our reporter Brittany Weir is seeing heading east. This is going to become a larger issue as well as we continue to see the ever-evolving changes with this. And now with that squall warning coming out, this is potentially going to be getting even worse. We're going to now take you to Andy Chillian on air currently for our 11 o'clock newscast with the latest in weather.
That'll be important to do before you head out over these next couple of days. Today, snow showers and squalls. I would say tomorrow the coverage is not going to be as high. That's not to say we won't see anything, but I would say today is a higher of the impact of the 2 days. Nonetheless, though, we have first alert weather days both days, so it's important to keep that in mind. Right now, you're taking a live look outside. This is the ODOT camera. This is 271 as you're approaching interchange of 77. So as you head towards Ridgefield, basically. And yeah, you can see even the major interstates out here are seeing some snow snow coverage on the roadways as well. So the snow has been falling heavily enough to overwhelm some of the roads. Obviously, when we get the plows out there, of course, they're doing their job and you get more travel. It's a little bit better, but nonetheless, some of the roads, even the interstates, are going to be looking like this if you're planning to head out this afternoon and evening. So keep that in mind. In fact, it looks like we just have issued a lake effect snow squall warning, rather. That's in this pink outline here. And so when you get those issued, that's like, treat it like a severe thunderstorm warning. Basically, it's travel is going to be impacted. You could get some really dangerous travel with some heavy snow there, some gusty winds. Either way, that's pushing to the southeast right now. So areas of Summit County going to be impacted there. You can see Akron and then over to Ravenna there and parts of Portage County as this really heavy snow. This is potentially 1 to 2 inch per hour rates, maybe even higher, moving right through the heart of Solon right now, and that is where travel can be very much impacted. So be very careful with this system moving through right now. As you can see, some of the heaviest of snow pushing south of downtown Cleveland right now, but the heaviest is where you do see these darker colors showing up across parts of Geauga and Portage County as well, and certainly in that snow squall. This weekend, though, we're looking at more snow showers tomorrow, not quite as much so on Sunday, so that'll be the better of the 2 days, but either way, it's going to stay pretty breezy, if not windy, through this entire time frame. I'm coming up to talk more about that warning that was just issued and what we can expect over the next 7 to 10 days in just a bit.
All right, so Andy Chillian there, breaking down the latest. He's going to be back on of our 11 o'clock newscast in a little bit here. We'll go back to him when he does come up there because that was a fantastic amount of information. 1 to 2 inches an hour in certain parts of it. You saw that rectangle that he had, which showed the counties that we are seeing with that snow squall warning. That's Medina, Portage, Trumbull, Summit, Geauga counties, excuse me. Those areas are going to get hit, and they are going to get hit hard. Again, what we see with the, actually, no, this is another great resource. These are the Cleveland warming centers that are available right now, 11:30 to 10 p.m. Michael Zone Recreation Center, Lonnie Burton Recreation Center, Collinwood Recreation Center, Zelma George Recreation Center. We also have seen quite a bit that have been opened in Summit County and the counties that are a little bit more south and east of Cuyahoga County. If you need it, go. It's going to be cold. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be a rough day out there. All right, now, we are continuing to monitor the 2 shots that we have up, and I apologize for being a broken record, but I think this is incredibly important to note. Brittany Weir is currently heading east. These are what the conditions look like on the roads there. And we have a photographer heading south from the city, south-ish. This is what it looks like there. It's opposite of how you would think this would go. You would typically think, I know it, I live here, we all live here. When you're heading east, you're going to get the more snow. But today, it's just not necessarily as uniform and as much of the case as we normally would see. And it just looks, at least from the shot that, Brittany has, it kind of seems like it's normal weather. We're going to be getting apparently some new video in there coming my way. Brittany, nothing's changed for you, right? I don't know if you're still listening.
No, nothing's really changed, Jeff. Like you said, we're headed out east, but the roads right now, they're seeming normal, like what we're used to here in Northeast Ohio. But again, like you said, that could change at any moment. And usually the snow belt, as you head out east, is usually where you see more of the snow. We're not seeing that at this exact moment, but we're still making our way. We're past North Collinwood area, headed toward Euclid, and then we're going to keep making our way further east. So if we see anything, we will let you know. You see a plow truck coming up here on our right side. So they are out here ready to go to clear the roads to keep them safe for you and the other drivers on the road.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be a broken record here. Brittany, thank you. Go back to your regularly scheduled programming there with this. But yeah, I mean, think about where she's headed and think about where we're seeing the conditions. It's just not typical. It's just not. And that's what makes this so unique, and that's the reason why we have gone very heavily into this coverage. That is why today was called a first alert weather day for pretty obvious reasons, right? If certain areas are getting a lot more than the east side, it's handled differently. Now, we do know that ODOT has been incredibly prepared for this. They've stocked up prior to this year with the amount of ice that they've been using, the amount of trucks that they have ready to go at their disposal, and this is something they're going to consistently have ready to roll. But that doesn't mean that the roads are going to be 100% easy to maneuver, and that doesn't mean that every area is not going to see their own bits of difficulties. So that's why we're doing this. Also important, we were talking about those warming centers earlier. If you go to our website right now at cleveland19.com, we have every single warming center that is currently open and to the public available to you. So if you're in any concern, if you've been without power, if you are without power, that's the place to go to be able to make sure that you are kept warm. I'm going to check the First Energy outage map just to see here. And I apologize for the delay in some of the information. As most of you know, if you watch our digital streams quite often here, you're working with us. You're working with us throughout the day. So this is just a typical, we're trying to get the information as immediate as possible, but those things obviously take time. All right, it's only, I say only in quotes, 283 customers currently out of power. So not actually a significant number. Only seeing about 100 in the Cleveland area, less than 20 actually. So yeah, not too many that would necessarily create that large of an issue. Erie County has declared a level 1 snow emergency for winter weather road conditions. That was issued earlier today due to snow or ice driving. And as you can see from the video that we are currently bringing in the live feed from Brittany Weir, plows are out. Look in that far right area. They're clearing that completely. And that's great. That's fantastic to see. Obviously, this is exactly what you want. So we have some new video in as well. So we were talking about that snow squall earlier today. This is where it is. So Andy had mentioned that it was basically the large rectangle that you're seeing. I'm going to get rid of that lower really quickly here. This is how wide ranging that snow squall is going to be, and watch as it starts to head down. So this is where we're at as of 11:34, right? So that was 4 minutes ago, okay? This is the problem. You see the white that we have. That is a significantly less amount of snowfall than some areas. It's that dark blue and purple that's the concern, right? That's going to be coming in. Look how fast it's moving, and look how it goes from nothing to deep dark blue and purple. That's the concern, and that is why there has been that squall warning set up, because of how hard and fast that can actually happen. And again, that is why there has been this warning established, this snow squall warning established for the following counties: Medina, Portage, Trumbull, Summit, Geauga. All of them have this warning in effect. That is something to make sure that you are very much so aware of if you're getting ready to head out here. And again, that's as of 11:34 is when this video cuts off. However, that doesn't mean that you're clear now. This is in effect for quite some time, and in effect for a reason. Expecting that to enter that rectangular zone within the next hour or so, and that's when we're going to see the extreme snowfalls. Again, that is southish of what we are used to for a significant amount of snow. And Brittany was mentioning, I think they were heading toward the Chardon-ish area, basically directly south from them. That's where we can expect to see some of that even more appearing. So as we continue to monitor the latest, let's recap what we know, what the latest in the world of weather is for this first alert weather day. We are expecting lake effect snow for many parts of Northeast Ohio. Low temperatures also making this a very difficult commute, whether you're going into work, out of work, heading downtown, whatever it may be. The next couple of days are going to be tough. So that is going to be windy and cold, several inches of snow, particularly where the squalls are going to be persisting, and we know that now is going to be Medina, Portage, Trumbull, Summit, Geauga. All of those are going to be seeing a snow squall warning that is currently in effect. Travel impacts are expecting to be very, very large and very difficult to maneuver. Going to go back live now to, this is one of our crews out. You can see that Metro Park, signs on the right-hand side. This does seem to be, I'm not going to totally speculate here, but looks like to be around the Big Met-ish area. Yeah, you can see it's essentially like a 1 1/4 lane traffic there. Cleared one lane, not necessarily ideal in some of the other spots, but this is expected to continue for quite some time here. We have all of the information related to warming centers on our website currently at cleveland19.com. That is going to be for Cuyahoga County, in particular in Cleveland. Then we also have warming centers available. Summit County, Akron has those available. Sagamore Hills Township. In Stark County, there are multiple available. Ashland County, Erie County. It's a day when the conditions are expected to get bad, but the temperatures are also expected to get even worse. And that is in particular leading to the conditions that we are seeing. Speaking with Jason Nicholas last night on 19 News at 11 o'clock, we are going to be seeing the lake effect snow continue as the temperatures of the lake do not freeze. If the lake was frozen, we wouldn't be seeing this. And basically what he said is the way that the temperatures have been so variable, it's just not looking likely. Gonna pull up really quickly here. This is 90 at 271 right now. That's not what we're showing. This is 77 at 271, but 90 at 271, there are reports of an accident that potentially could lead to a shutdown. So we're going to get to that in a quick second. I'm going to pull off that so you can pull that up. Going back to our current conditions on the road, hoping to get a live picture of what we just told you about. But 90 at 271, if that is the case, you got to avoid that area. We all know how bad crashes can be, but crashes in these conditions, monumentally worse than what it could be if the conditions are nice. And even here, right? So we're looking right now at the conditions somewhere in Cleveland. It seems to be the southern portion of the city of Cleveland. It's still not ideal. And we all know how bad city driving can be in a normal situation. Just still far from ideal. The actual precipitation does not seem to be coming down as high as it was previously, but that doesn't mean that's the case everywhere. And in particular, we do know that these snow squalls are going to be building more and more in the following counties: Medina, Portage, Trumbull, Summit, Geauga counties. All of them are expected to see some pretty nasty conditions over the next few hours, and this continues for quite some time here. And the more video that we pull up, I'm just monitoring right now as we're trying to see if we can find that reported crash, which does not seem to be able to be found on our cameras though. But just to see the conditions, they do seem to be slightly improving from what we had seen earlier today. Again, when I was, for those that have been watching for quite some time, they know I was driving in from the west side into the downtown area today. It was tough. I mean, it took me probably 50 minutes on a normal 20-minute drive. You just got to go slow and you got to take time, and the conditions that we were seeing on the roads reflect that. And again, for those curious about that squall here, this is the map that we have that shows, if you look at that purple or pinkish rectangle, that is where that snow squall warning is in effect. I listed multiple counties because that thing is wide ranging. I mean, look at the far left portion of that, as far west as you can look. That touches Medina and goes all the way past Warren, almost to Youngstown, is how large we are actually seeing of that. Okay, so we can't totally see the conditions there of that reported crash that happened. However, you can see the conditions and the lane splits that you were seeing. Right now, there's not much in the way of you to keep traction there. You can see a large portion of it, and now we're going to wait to see a little bit more if we can potentially get more info on that. That again, report was 271-90 split. Right now, we are seeing the live camera from I-77 at 271. Expecting another update at some point from Andy Chillian as well to potentially see which spots are going to be getting hit the hardest over the next few hours here. But all of the cameras that we are having right now showing conditions are improving in some areas as more plows are able to get out and maneuver this. Let me see if I can pull up really quickly there we go. Okay, so let's just go really quickly back to the Cleveland plow map here. This has updated now, so some streets can be expecting to see improvements. I will reiterate, the darker the color, the better. If you live on a street in the city of Cleveland, you want to see that darker color, that means that it has been serviced within the darker it is, it's been serviced within the last 5 hours. The lighter areas, that means they have not been serviced in more than 12 hours. So what does that ultimately mean? Well, that means since the snow has started, they have not seen a plow. And that is where the concern is, because that means that you have been accumulating all the snow and haven't seen a plow yet, at least according to the tracker. I don't want to be definitive on that because I can't say for sure if they are fully able to show that, but at least according to the tracker, the darker the color, that means those areas. I also want to remind how the plow system actually goes, particularly with those that are handled by the city. Primary routes are handled first and multiple times. So you think about your streets that are frequented a lot more, that see a lot more traffic. They will get the attention once, even twice, before they start going to secondary and third streets. So when you think about those secondary streets, those are going to be the ones that are more residential, and then the third category that they lift for the third ranked streets there are ones that see barely any traffic. If you live on any of those two, if you have not seen a plow yet, there's a reason for it. They typically handle the areas, and I say typically, I know for a fact after speaking with the way that the plows are done here in the city of Cleveland, that's the way they handle it. They do their primary first, then their secondary roads, and those primary roads get 1, 2, potentially even 3 passes before they would go to a potentially other spot. So as you look at this map, if you're trying to figure out, all right, here's where we are as far as actual plowing goes, don't get discouraged that your area has not been seen yet, but I understand the annoyance with that because, yeah, the snow's been falling only for, what, 7 hours around there, and you haven't seen anything yet. But that can change. And as you can see from the conditions, both from our Brittany Weir and then also from one of our photojournalists that's out on the roads as well, it's okay. It's really not atrocious at the moment. However, I will point out, for those that have been watching with us for the last 20 minutes or so, you saw where Brittany was heading downtown. Remember how clear it was to be able to see the city? That's different now again, pointing to the variable conditions that we are seeing, right? You're in a spot 20 minutes ago, it is not going to look the same as right now. You're in a spot an hour from now, it's not going to look the same as it does at this moment as well. So this is why you need to make sure that you are fully aware of where you are going, how you're getting there, and of course, the alternate routes that potentially need to be made available. As we enter the noon hour here, of course, we have the latest updates available on our website and on air. This is going to be a growing concern for many people. Coming downtown is one thing, getting home is another, and heading home from work when it is dark and difficult, yeah, that can be a massive, massive problem. We're going to be able to show you really quickly here, not really quickly, we're going to be able to show you in a short time span what this accident that was reported, or this crash, excuse me, on 90 and 271. There were reports of a jackknifed semi that had caused traffic delays, and this is that look at it. Here, I'll pull that up right now for you. That is a look at that truck, okay? So you can see it's the jackknife nature of it, right? So the front cab pulled to the side of the road. We can't see the back fully according to this photo, but this area is closed off. So if you are heading to that 90-271 area, unsure of which direction specifically, we're going to hope to get that information confirmed. This will create a backup. And when the conditions are the way that they are, when it is... Andy is back up. We're going to take Andy very quickly here. Great. So let's go back to Andy Chillian.
It's heavy snow right now in Ravenna, but this is all pushing to the south and east. So we saw this earlier along the immediate lakeshore. We still have a bit of a tail that's bringing some heavy snow near Elyria and just to the west of Strongsville, but the heaviest of snow is now pushing further south. So areas like Akron, you're getting in on some of those snow bursts, Ravenna, even over to Middlefield, and this will continue to push south of 90. However, we have seen some of the impacts with this heavy snow overwhelming the roads, even the major interstates as well. But here's that tail. You can see parts of Lorain County and even to northern Medina County still getting in on some heavy snow. And like I said, these could be up to 2, maybe 3 inch per hour rates. That's very heavy snow that's reducing visibility. It's causing travel issues over towards Chardon right now. You can see obviously not just the snow belt getting in on this time, but a lot of northeast Ohio. Here is another ODOT camera I've been sort of taking around today. This is 77 at State Route 21. So the exit there, as you see 77 curving in Summit County. And so again, we can see that some of the even major interstates, but especially those bridges and overpasses, are going to have some snow-covered areas, maybe some icy spots, and you need to watch out as you're traveling. Again, best to really delay travel, especially if you're in parts of Summit County where that snow squall warning is in effect. So that's what's going on right now. We have the real heavy band of snow pushing through. Once that does so over the next couple of hours, we still see more lake effect snow showers. It's just the coverage is not quite as high, especially as we get overnight. Don't want to diminish any impacts, though. Could we see some more snow squalls out there? It's not out of the question. The atmosphere is primed for that today. And remember, snow squalls are just heavy snow, reducing visibility, and that can lead to some significant travel issues, as we are apparently seeing on parts of I-90 right now. So just keeping that in mind as we do head overnight tonight. We still have this activity. Now tomorrow, this is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Do you see how the coverage is not as high? So we'll still be dealing with some lake effect snow. I would say a lot of it's focused in the snow belt tomorrow, though there could be a few light showers out to the west, and then we see things winding down for the most of us as we head into Sunday. Maybe a few flurries linger here and there. This lake effect likes to linger a little bit longer than we expect, but I would say the biggest impacts are going to be today and tomorrow when we're talking travel. And so in terms of additional snow, I paint 1 to 3 for a lot of us, but it really just depends on where this heavier snow sets up. If you're getting 2 to 3 inch per hour rates, you're going to begin to see that, especially in parts of the snow belt where we could see locally up to a foot. I'll show you the first alert 10-day forecast coming up after the break.
So some great information there from Andy Chillian. Going to be ending our coverage here from all of our digital platforms now, but that does not mean that coverage ends in total. We have, of course, our noon newscast kicking off in about 8 minutes over on CBS. This will be the latest in the world of weather and news. Most up-to-date, accurate information that you will need. We can take it there. Of course, that is going to be over on CBS. We will have that for you then. As you can see, conditions on the roads, very much so dependent on where you are, but that doesn't mean it's incredibly safe to get out and about. Take your time, take precaution, make sure that you're keeping yourself and your family safe. Much more to come as we continue this first alert weather day here at 19 News. For now, I'm Jeff Slauson with 19 News. Have a great day and a great night. Much more to come, both on air and online.
19 News.